At number 10, we have Namaste. We've all heard this before, Namaste. Well, in Hindu culture, people greet each other while joining both their palms. And this is termed Namaste. And the general reason for this tradition is that by joining hands, Hindus are showing respect to the other person. But if we look at it scientifically, we can see that joining both hands means joining the tips of the fingers. And the tips of the fingers are pressure points of the eyes, ears, and the mind. Joining and pressing those against each other help you remember the person for a longer period of time. And also, no exchange of germs happens here because you're not touching the other person. So yeah, a whole lot more than just a greeting in this motion here. Moving on to number 9, let's look at the toe rings. Wearing toe rings is a symbol to differentiate between married and unmarried women. There is a scientific reason behind this though. A particular nerve in the second toe passes through the uterus to the heart, and wearing a ring on this toe strengthens the uterus. It will help the uterus by regulating the blood flow and the regulation of the menstrual cycle. Most of the rings are made of silver as well, and silver is a very good conductor. So it helps in absorbing energy from the earth and passing it through the body. From there, we look at the practice at number 8, throwing coins in the river. Now, the general reason as to why this happens is to bring good luck, and the practice has been going on for many years. It's very ancient. So in ancient times, coins were made of copper, unlike the coins that we have now, which are made of steel. Now, copper, as you all know, is a very vital element. And the science behind this act is that in ancient times, it was to ensure that people had enough copper intake into their bodies by drinking water. And in those times, rivers were the only source of water. So yeah, there's some science, some wisdom behind the practice. It's not just about throwing coins into the river for good luck. Maybe it's good luck. Maybe it brings good luck. I don't know. From there, let's look at ringing a bell at the temple. People who enter the temple are supposed to ring a bell. And the general perception behind this act is that when you enter the inner sanctum where the main deity is present, you must ring the bell. Now, this sound is also said to keep evil forces away, but if we take a look at this scientifically, it is proven that the bell of the temple is designed in such a way that when it's rung, it helps your brain focus more by creating a unity between the left part and the right part of the brain. Now, the sharp sound of the bell lasts for a minimum of 7 seconds in echo mode. Now, this echo sound will activate the 7 healing centers in our body. Number 6 brings us practice regarding food. So the tradition of starting your meal with spicy foods first and ending it off with something sweet has been going on for a very long time. And if we take a look at the science of this, we get to know that eating something spicy will actually activate the digestive juices and the acids. Just get your body ready for digestion. Now, this will ensure that the digestion process goes smoothly. And sweets contain a lot of carbohydrates that lead to bad digestion, and hence it shouldn't be eaten at first. So it's recommended, even medically, to eat spicy food before sweet ones. And of course, this is a long-standing Hindu practice. Even if you go to an Indian restaurant, the foods are spicy, but when you're leaving, there's like a bowl or tray of sweets for you to have. From there, we look at henna. Now, I love the whole art of henna, but besides coloring your hands and feet and beautifying the body, henna is a very powerful herb. This herb can help lower stress levels and keep the body cool. It decreases the tension level of the body, so applying henna before a wedding is a very good killer of stress. As the wedding day approaches, the excitement level as well as the stress level of the bride and groom increases, so it's definitely a good idea to apply some henna during that time. Now, this is a pretty interesting one. Eating food on the floor. Yeah, it's not just practice passed down from generation to another. Eating while sitting on the floor is commonly known as sitting in a Sukhasana pose. Now, we can see this tradition even in movies, and the Sukhasana position is also a yoga position. When you sit on the floor, you normally sit by crossing your legs. Now, the position brings calm and also helps in digestion. It is also believed that this position automatically sends signals to your brain to prepare your stomach for digestion. In at the number 3 spot, sleeping in a certain way. Hindus believe that you should not sleep with your head towards the north because it invites ghosts and the possibility of death. But science says that the body has its magnetic field and the earth is a magnet, so when we sleep north, our magnetic field and the Earth's magnetic field become asymmetrical. Now, this can cause problems in your body like blood pressure, and it also causes your heart to work harder in this position. Another scientific reason is that we have a significant amount of iron in our body, and sleeping in this position can cause it to accumulate in our brains. Yeah, never knew that. This can lead to headaches, as well as Alzheimer's disease and Parkinson's disease, as well as general brain degeneration. Number 2 leads us to this practice of worshiping deities. Researchers say that worshiping your deity can help you increase concentration in your prayers. According to psychiatrists, a person will shape their thoughts on what he or she sees. And if you have 3 different objects in front of you, your perception of all of them will be different based on their appearance. So the ancient deity worshiping started when they felt the need that people should focus on worship without any sort of other mental distractions. It kind of just helps bring your mind in one singular mode so you can focus. And yeah, it's said to be a very powerful tip for manifesting your desires. Worshiping a deity, worshiping one god, as it's mentioned in other religions. Now, the practice we're gonna end up on is fasting. Ayurveda is an ancient Indian medical system that says that any disease is caused when there is an accumulation of toxic materials in your body. The removal of toxic materials from the body can help you lead a healthy life. So while fasting, your body can take a rest and it can heal itself. It is also said that if you take lemon juice during the period of fasting, it can prevent flatulence, the buildup of gas there. And Ayurveda says that the human body is 80% liquid and 20% solid, just like planet Earth. And the gravitational force of the moon affects the liquid content of your body, and it can cause emotional instability in your body. Research has also shown that regular fasting can help you decrease the risk of cancer and many other diseases. So yeah, there's a whole lot going on that's affecting our bodies, so any way that we can help flush out toxins will be greatly beneficial. Starting off this episode at number 10, numeral system. Many of us do not realize that the numeral system we use today has come from India. Most people think that the numeral system that we are using today is Arabic. But when Arabs came to India, they acquired the Indian mathematical concepts and shared them with the West. Now, the Indian numeral system broke the complex Roman system used back then. And not just a numeral system, many mathematical principles originated in India. Albert Einstein even once said, "We owe a lot to the Indians who taught us how to count. Any scientific discovery would not have been possible without it." Number 9 leads us to carburized steel. So everybody knows that India is one of the best steel producers. Well, not everybody, just a lot of people. And the Indian wood steel is legendary. Many great civilizations like ancient Greece and ancient Rome were very surprised by this. Now, it was even sent as a gift to Alexander the Great by King Porus. He selected the steel over gold and silver. High quality steel is still a major raw material in the present age. Even today, India is a world leader in the production of high quality steel. Number 8 brings us to the Hindu influence on Western philosophy. India and Hinduism has influenced ancient Greek as well as Rome. Other than technology, town planning, and statecraft, Greeks sought new ideas and thoughts in the Vedic scriptures and even learned their trades in the universities of India like Taxila and Nalanda. The Greek philosophers, they play a prominent role in shaping the core of Western philosophy, and the Indian philosophers are considered to be the foundation of modern philosophies. Voltaire even once said, the Greeks before the time of Pythagoreans traveled to India for instruction. In at the number 7 spot, we have cotton textiles. Indians were the first ones to use cotton textiles for clothing. It is a revolutionary contribution to the world. Now, back in the day, only animal skin was used by the Greeks, and at the time when Alexander the Great was conquering the world, Greeks found the cotton industry over in India. It was the first time that they used Indian garments. And now, Western Europeans may argue with this one a little bit, but the truth is what we have achieved today is because of the knowledge gained from high quality textile production and trading through India. Next up, into the number 6 spot, we have democracy. All over the world, the Greek Republic of Athens is always regarded as the oldest non-tribal organized democracy. But historians know the reality that the actual oldest democracy is the ancient Indian Republic of Vaishali. It dates back to 600 BCE, which is around 100 years before the institution of Athenian democracy. The most ancient form of Indian democracy is Panchayat, which means assembly of 5, in which 5 leaders combined to govern the society. The Indian system dates back more than 3,000 years ago. In at number 5, lunar water. The most modern contribution of India to the space world is the most recent space exploration between 2008 and 2009 with Chandrayaan-1. And this detected the presence of lunar water. The exploration was done before NASA's moon mineralogy mapper, and the director of NASA, Jim Green, he even said this, and I quote, "We want to thank ISRO, or the Indian Space Research Organization, for making the discovery possible. Till now, it was thought that moon is a dry surface with a lot of rocks." Number 4 brings us to quantum statistics. Many European scientists, they have turned to Vedas for inspiration. Arthur Schopenhauer has declared the Upanishad, which are Sanskrit texts of Hindu philosophy, as the most satisfying and elevating reading in the entire world. Many European scientists are students of advanced Upanishads, and the Bengali scientist Satyendra Nath Bose, he provided the foundations for quantum statistics. Now, although the Nobel Prize was awarded to German and US scientists, well, he's still greatly known for the God particle and the Higgs boson particle. Mathematician Peter Johnstone has said that gravitation was known to Indians even before the birth of Newton. Also, blood circulation was discovered originally by Indians. From there, we look at wireless communication. In the year 1985, Jagadish Chandra Bose, also known as J.C. Bose, an Indian scientist, he demonstrated the first use of radio technology. But 2 years later, Guglielmo Marconi demonstrated it and also won the Nobel Prize for it. Now, in the Daily Chronicle in England in 1896, a piece was written that said, and I quote, "The inventor, J.C. Bose, has transmitted signals to a distance nearly to a mile. This was the first and obvious and valuable application of this new technology." So there you go. Gotta give credit where credit is due. Now from there, let's look at number 2, 0. No, we're at number 2, but 0 is the next thing. Yeah. The world of mathematics would have been incomplete without the invention of zero. Zero has its impact in all fields, including art, philosophy, and technology. It has even led to the binary language of zeros and ones. And it's because of these zeros and ones put together in a language that we can use mobile devices and laptops today. Lancelot Hogben said that in the whole history of mathematics, there has been no revolutionary step than the one which India made when they invented zero. The use of calculus was developed hundreds of years before Isaac Newton and Gottfried Leibniz. And in at number 1, we have the hydraulic engineering. About 5,000 years ago, during the growth of the Indus Valley civilization, a vast and highly advanced system of canals, intricate irrigation, water management, and sewage system was developed in various parts of India. The sewage system in the civilization was built in such a way that the blockage was self-clearing, and it even got rid of bad smells and odors. They even developed the first flush toilets years ago. David Hatcher Childress, an American author of historical revisionism, claims that the sewage system back then was so sophisticated that they are still superior to many developing countries today. He wrote this about this civilization, and I quote, "A wonder to modern day researchers, the cities were highly developed and advanced, a remarkable early example of city planning." But let's jump into this episode. Starting at number 10, we have dentistry. According to many historians, the Indus Valley civilization has evidence of dentistry being practiced as far back as 7000 BC. There's a site over in Mehrgarh, which is now located in modern day Pakistan, and it showed evidence of people curing tooth disorders with bow drills. They noticed that tiny holes were drilled on the surface of multiple male molar teeth, and several fossils like this were found. Number 9 brings us toilet systems. Both in Harappa and Mohenjo-daro, almost every single house had a flush toilet connected to a very complex sewage system. Dating back to about 2500 BC, remains from toilets connected to drains were found in Lothal, India. And the reason Indians actually were able to invent this toilet and drainage system is because they actually already had the drainage system, and that was designed to remove floodwaters out of the cities. And so the drainage for the sewage system and the drainage system for floodwater, they're very close together. So they had the technology already, so they decided to use it for sewage as well. Number 8, rulers. That's what we got to look at next, but not rulers like rulers of civilizations, but rulers that are used for measurements. Areas of the Indus Valley civilization in both what is now known as Pakistan as well as Western India, they've had rulers that were made out of ivory. And these kinds of rulers were very popular because bricks that were used in the valley's buildings, they were discovered to be pretty much the exact same measurements. So of course these ivory rulers were allowing them to measure bricks pretty much exactly the same in size. Speaking of measurements though, let's talk about scales. The earliest existence of scales used for measuring also date back to between 2400 BC to up until about 800 BC in the Indus Valley civilization. So these weight balances were used to measure and compare objects and products that were bought and sold and traded. Number 6 is also a very mind-blowing one, plastic surgery. Now this is normally thought of as a modern invention, but historians believe that plastic surgery was happening back in India as early as around 2000 BC. And just to clarify, what I mean when I refer to plastic, like I'm not talking about the petroleum byproduct used to be molded into solid objects, but what I'm referring to is the art of modeling malleable flesh. The ancient Indian physician Sushruta is credited for being the father of plastic surgery. 5 brings us the Pythagorean theorem. Now I've heard this pronounced in multiple different ways, and you know, as a matter of fact, I haven't heard this term since I was in school. Mesopotamian, Indian, and Chinese mathematicians all discovered this, and this was long before Pythagoras did, even though this was named after him. Now the theorem states that the area of the square whose side is opposite the right angle is equal to the sum of the areas of the squares on the other two sides. But specifically over in India, the Badhyana Sulba Sutra between about 800 BC to 500 BC contains a statement of the Pythagorean theorem. Crucible steel comes in at number 4. Historians now believe that by at least 200 BC, South India was producing very high quality steel. As a matter of fact, they were using a method that Europeans were actually going to later call the crucible technique. Wrought iron, charcoal, as well as glass were all mixed together and heated until the iron melted and absorbed the carbon, and that formed a high-grade steel. Cataract surgery comes in number 3. Now, there's Indian physicians who were known for practicing different kind of cataract surgery that were known to the Greeks around 200 BC. The surgery was performed with a tool known as the Jabamukhi Salaka, and that's a curved needle that's used to loosen the lens and push the cataract out of the field of vision. The spinning wheel comes in at number 2. Now, this is a mechanized method of spinning yarn that was invented in India between the years 500 AD to about 1000 AD, and this eventually replaced the hand spinning that was very popular in different parts of the world. The charkha, as it was known as, eventually went on to become the symbol of Indians' independence movement. And finally, at number 1, the orbit of the Earth. Hindu cosmological time cycles that are found in the Surya Siddhanta, they were written between 700 BC to 600 AD, and it states that the time that it takes the Earth to revolve around the Sun is 365.25 days. This actually was the most accurate estimate in the world.